Now, the pandemic has been terrible for families that lived off migration earnings. It's crucial for the centre to stop rationing NREGA money and actually promise people up to 150 or 200 days of work under the employment guarantee scheme rather than just 100 days. A Nobel Laureate and economist Abhijit Banerjee told NDTV that this will give people the confidence to spend money, which will be good for the economy. The Nobel Laureate also spoke to NDTV's Ankita Mukherjee as he launched his cookbook, Cooking Save Your Life.
You can't really talk about food without talking about its flip side, which is scarcity. And, we're at a situation when an RTI query that the government responded to talked about how 33 lakh children in India are malnourished currently, and about half that number severely, acutely malnourished. That figure has gone up by a staggering 91% from last year's figure. Which seems alarming. Do you see this as a result of the pandemic? Everything in our lives seem to be informed by that right now.
I don't think there's any mystery there. I think the pandemic was terrible for families that in particular lived off migration earnings. Migrants were the first and most obvious and most visible victims of that. They were trapped and often, and then they had to go back. But when they went back, even when they managed to go back, there was no living for them. And the other thing that went up was NREGA spending hugely, and that's the same phenomenon. Migrants, even in rural families, for most rural families, a majority of the income is urban migrant income.
But how do we get out of this kind of situation? As you mentioned, NREGA soaring right now. The states have been writing to the centre saying that they're out of money. They literally don't have the money to make those payouts anymore. So this is an alarming situation. How do we get out of it?
I've been saying that in a sense. I would say what the centre should do is, rather than rationing that money, go the other way, to promise people that they could get, instead of 100 days, 150 or 200 days, just up that, and then if the economy recovers, that won't be used, because it's still not what people want to do. And so if the economy recovers, the pandemic is under control, people will go back to their migrant jobs. So I don't think it's going to be an issue for the fisc as much. But the government hasn't yet done that. But what we would do, if you promise people that you'll have a guarantee, if you want to 150 days, you can have it, is that then they don't worry about using up the days. They'll just do the days when they need the money, and they won't worry about what will I do in the future when it runs out. There'll be some slack. I think building that slack in will give people confidence to spend money, and spending money will be good for the economy.